Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a lovely day, and welcome to the channel. If you are new, if your first time here, I hope you enjoy your stay. Today we're going to be working on a family home. I was really inspired by this color of green siding that I found. Well, I say I found, but I don't typically use the siding that's got like those white barriers on the side, like the white lines, because I feel like it never places quite right on the corners, so I never use it. But now I use columns in my corners, which wasn't a thing I used to always do. I don't know how I built without it before, but I wanted to really use this green siding. And another thing is also I wanted to challenge myself, because my biggest rule when I build a house is don't make it symmetrical. Your houses in real life are never symmetrical. Well, I say never, but not normally symmetrical is what I mean, and it's quite an unusual thing. So my biggest rule if you're learning to build is never make your houses symmetrical, because it makes the floor plan also extremely difficult. It's easy to make it look good from the outside, but on the inside you're going to struggle, because how do you split up a perfectly symmetrical floor plan? Usually in your houses you have like little bump outs, and you know when you have a little bump out, you're like, okay, that's going to be a bedroom, okay, that's going to be a bathroom, I want to put the kitchen in here, the dining room there. You know, you can look at little bump outs in different parts of the house and say, oh, I want this to go there, and you base the floor plan off that. So typically I will first try to find out, where does my staircase go and where does my kitchen go when I am building a house. And this I find really difficult when I am trying to build a symmetrical house. So I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to make a really symmetrical, kind of old-fashioned house. So the story I was going with this house was that this is a family home, in the sense that there are multiple generations living here. I imagine that the grandparents owned this house. They came from a little, not like a little bit of money, but you know, they're comfortable. You know, they built their house up over time, and the house has been passed down to maybe the son or the daughter, the husband or wife that lives here, to the next generation, the next heir. And I was thinking that maybe they decided to paint the house, decided to renovate the house. You'll see when we get inside, the decoration is it looks a little wonky, it looks a little weird. Some of it is dark brown, some of it is pure white. Oh, pure white, it's more like light blues, yellows, creams, pinks, my usual color scheme. And let me know, am I the only one who has a color scheme that they like to stick to? Not so much a decorating style, but more a color scheme. And if you have a color scheme that you stick to, let me know what it is, because mine is blues, pinks, creams, yellows, that sort of things, and whites. And I really wanted to try something different with this house. That's why I decided to go with base game windows, I believe. I said that very confidently, I'm actually not sure. And I think I used base game windows, that like the ones with the shutters, and one I recently found that's really cute. But it's been in the base game for a while, so I typically don't build with base game items. I am recently trying, because I have a cousin, she is a lot younger than me, and she plays The Sims on console, but she only has the base game. And so I've been doing base game builds just for her, and I've been enjoying them. I just find it very difficult. So she doesn't get a lot of houses, but I try and build like when I'm off stream and when I'm not building for my YouTube videos. I try and build houses for her, and she sends me pictures all the time of what she wants and how many Sims she needs the house for, and I'll build the house and I'll send it, put it on the gallery. She'll download it and she can play in it. And she's got a sister, and her sister's also a bit younger than her, so the two of them play on console, because they don't have a computer strong enough to play with the Sims. So I've been trying to be better about using base game, because I know doing a base game house is not difficult anymore, especially with all the updates that we've gotten. There are so many new items in the game, so I think I shouldn't be complaining. I think I should be using the base game a lot more than I do. But here we are working on the living room. I was struggling with this living room, I will not lie. I was really struggling. This is when I was trying to decide, okay, what do I want the inside of the house to look like? And I was still struggling, trying to figure out how I wanted everything to look and how I wanted the feel of the house to turn out. But in the end, I really like how the house comes together. I like how everything turns out. I ended up deciding that I wanted the front part of the house to be traditional, really dark, really old, but I wanted the back of the house and the upstairs to be renovated and be a lot more, I don't know, like of a lighter color scheme and a lighter decorating style, because I imagine, because the grandparents' room is on the ground floor, they've got the biggest room in the house. I believe they've also got the biggest bathroom. Actually, I'm not sure if I include the bathroom in this video. I think I do. I know I included that bathroom in the screenshots. I tend to not include the bathrooms in the screenshots. I feel like bathrooms are a little boring. I like decorating them personally because I find that they could be really satisfying to try and find different layouts, and sometimes you get a little creative in there. But I know a lot of people find bathrooms boring, and the speed build was, when I sped it up, was something over 30 minutes. I think it was bringing on 40, and after I edited it down with the bathrooms in and with a lot of other different things in as well, it came to something like only 32 minutes. But I managed to whittle the video down to 25 minutes before the screenshots. And I decided I wanted to include a laundry room, and you can see this laundry room is also of a lighter color scheme. So this is where the renovation idea started. So the grandparents' room is in the very front of the house, downstairs, and their room is very traditional. Their bathroom is renovated, and I found that I wanted to keep the front of the house and their area all really traditional. Maybe they wanted the house to still have like this old character charm, and they said, maybe, you know what, after we're gone you can renovate the house. That's a little morbid, but maybe after we're gone you can decorate the house how you want. But while we are still here on the other side, we are going to decide how the house looks on the inside. And they've just kept the front of the house really traditional and haven't touched it, haven't changed it. So it's still got this old moldy drapes from like 40 years ago. It's still got its old traditional couches. You know, I put down these blue couches in the living room. They're very fancy, much fancier than I thought. But I wanted to still include like little parts of a family build, like little bits of clutter. I did include a little play corner in the living room as well, where the toddler can go and sit on the rug, and it's got lots of toys. And maybe they are okay with only the toddler making a mess. Maybe everybody else has to be, well, I say the toddler, it's more the children. I don't think I included a toddler's room in this house, which is a little odd for me. We'll have to see when we get to the screenshots or get to the upstairs of the build, and we'll see how it goes. I am not sure. I think there is the grandparents room, the master, and a double feminine room and a teen room and another separate room. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure how many bathrooms either. So we'll see how it goes when we get there. But yeah, I'm working on the grandparents room. I was struggling to also decorate this room because I wanted this room to be kind of really dark, and not dark but like a bit more traditional. And I decided that because I was really struggling with trying to figure out how to fill up all the different spaces in the room, I decided to put this big closet in. I don't typically use the big closets, but I like how the shutter looks on the outside, like the doors. I really like how those look on the outside. So I decided I wanted to use it, because the other one that is like 2 by 1, the other closet, is really modern looking, and I wasn't feeling like a really modern vibe for this room, especially maybe for the upstairs, but not for the grandparents' room. And so I just decided to put in the big one, and it actually filled up the space really well. But this is not exactly my comfort zone when it comes to furnishing, because it is so traditional. But I ended up liking how this room turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. And over here we're just trying to drape up everything. I kept everything still like really white, because typically when I'm trying to build I will fill the entire room up with like filler furniture and try and map out how I want things to look, because it's one thing to start pulling out and worrying about swatches and which kind of bed you like, versus maybe just trying to like lay out the floor plan. If people who can just start decorating rooms without thinking about it, you are amazing. I could never. But here we are working on the bathroom, and you can see this is where the lighter color scheme, the blues, come into play. And what I was talking about maybe we wanted to make everything feel a little renovated, because maybe the parents who end up living here, the second generation, end up living here with their kids, maybe they had saved up for a house and they end up, the grandparents, they've got this big house and they've got nobody to fill it because all the kids have moved out. I imagine these grandparents had a lot of kids, and maybe this was just the youngest kid and wasn't quite ready to move out. The grandparents didn't want them to move out, and maybe they and their spouse had saved up quite a bit of money to buy a house, maybe in a different neighborhood. And the grandparents decided, it's fine, why don't you come and stay with us? And they thought this is a great time to take that old house with good bones, because they always say that about old houses, it's an old house with good bones, and maybe renovate it, add some money into the house, add some value, and make the house what they want it to be, because it's got enough space for them to grow. Maybe it's better than they could afford. I am still on about my mortgage mod in The Sims. If you know what I'm talking about, I was speaking about it in my apartment video, where I would like a mortgage mod in The Sims where your Sims can put a down payment on a house and they can work and pay off the house throughout their lives, and maybe they can pass the house down instead of having to spend their entire life living in a little container box in like Willow Creek, trying to save up for the big house in like Brindleton Bay. Maybe that's just a little bit more realistic. And I was really happy with how the kitchen turned out, and I tried to make it like really airy, really white, and I was trying to carry on that renovated color scheme through. And so how I edit this is, how I recorded this, I should say, is I actually did this living room in the same style as the rest of the house, traditional style. And when I went back to take screenshots, I actually hated how this room looked, and I felt like it needed renovation. So I ended up just closing everything off, and before I took the screenshots, I went back and just changed the colors. It'll be in the screenshots later, you'll see it in a second. But I was stuck with this narrow little hallway and I had no idea what to put here. And then it clicked with me, this would be a perfect little painter's corner. And so I just decided to stack a whole lot of paint cans. I really like those paint cans. I think they're from City Living. And I put a top down because maybe grandma's like, not on my hardwood floors. And I put some easels in there. No, the easels are things you paint on canvas. I decided to put some canvas down and just like really clutter up that corner. And you've got the two archways that are looking into each other, and then you've got the door. I gotta say, the Strangerville doors, I recently got Strangerville. I didn't always have it. A lot of the packs I didn't always have. I've only recently gotten a lot of the packs, and these Strangerville doors are amazing. And I absolutely love using them. I think them with the movie hangout doors are going to be my favorite. I think get ready to see that in every single build of mine. I absolutely adore them. So here I'm working on, I'm thinking this is like a teen's room. I don't typically make quote-unquote boys rooms. Like, I don't typically decorate outside of my giant pink Barbie rooms and like my neutral toddler rooms. So this was a little bit different, but I thought maybe this teen is like really into sports, they're really into skating, music, gaming, typical teen boy, quote unquote. There's no such thing as a typical teen boy, but as close as you can get. And his room is actually quite pristine. Maybe he is, or they are, like quite particular about how their room looks. And I also included that little statue, I think it's from university, and I made it into Bob pancakes. because I found out there was a Bob Pancake swatch. I think there's 1,000 different swatches, and I never use it, but I decided I wanted to use it in this build, and I really like how the room came together in the end. And here I'm working on my typical little girls' room. This room turned out so cute. I am still absolutely obsessed with these Mount Baby beds. The ones from the new Snowy Escape Pack. I should stop saying the new Snowy Escape Pack, but I suppose I'll stop saying the new Snowy Escape Pack when we get our new expansion pack. By the way, when do you think the new expansion pack is coming out? I have no guesses as to what it is. I know we are all hoping for the same thing. I know we are all crying for Generations, Paranormal, Farming, but let me know not what you think it is, but when you think it's coming, because so far it seems, I say so far, we just recently got paranormal stuff, but the paranormal stuff release kind of, I don't know, lined up with how the same timing we got Tiny Living last year, which, kick me if I'm wrong here, but Tiny Living feels like it came out years ago at this point. I can't believe that was only last year. I can't believe we've only had that pack a year. I feel I've only started playing The Sims during quarantine, which is, well, The Sims 4. I've only seriously started playing it at the beginning of quarantine, which is like March 2020, and I feel like we have had that pack forever. So maybe it's because it came out before I was part of this Sims 4 entire phenomenon. I suppose The Sims 4 is a phenomenon during quarantine, and I feel like a lot of people have found a lot of solace in playing The Sims. I am rambling on about so many things, and I'm not even really discussing the build and the reason why I'm putting things down and doing a good job of explaining my thought process, because I was told that the reason why some people really enjoy the voiceovers is because they get to hear the thought process, but it seems over here you just get me rambling for 30 minutes and just going on and on about nothing. So this room I wanted, maybe this is a pre-teens room. I'm thinking that the previous room was for kids. I know The Sims technically doesn't have ages, but I'm thinking that the other room was for like 8-9-year-olds, and maybe this room is for a 13-year-old. Maybe the previous room was for some twins, or maybe two kids that were born really close together. Maybe they were born 2 years apart. I'm talking in IRL years here, but I really like the idea that maybe they were born really close together, and maybe this room that I was decorating just now was for a Sim who is maybe like 13-14 years old. I imagine the son is like 16-17. Maybe he's basically on his way out to go towards college. And over here, this room, if you're looking for a room to convert into a toddler's room, this is kind of the room that you would have extra and be able to turn into a toddler's room. I feel like it would be pretty cute. I think the layout is really cute. There's all these little jagged walls. I don't know if anybody else really struggles on how to decorate rooms with jagged walls. I find it quite tough, but I don't know, I thought this would make a perfect craft room. I ended up putting a kids art table in here too. Not something I typically include in my builds, but I thought maybe the mom is crafting or the grandma's crafting, and maybe the kids are crafting with her, and I decided to put some crafts up on the wall above the art table just to make it feel a bit more used, a bit more cozy and a bit more realistic. And I added in a little couch because maybe there's one grandkid that's really attached to the grandma and they'd like to go in there, because I love those bookcases from kids room stuff, and maybe the kid likes to go sit on that colorful little chair and go read a book while grandma's either sitting and sewing, knitting, and combined sewing and knitting there. I came up with sitting. Maybe the grandma's crafting and the kid is sitting there paging through some books. Maybe they're Disney books, we don't know. So I like the idea that maybe there's grandma's favorite. I know grandmas aren't supposed to have favorites, but we all have favorites, and nobody will ever admit it, so please don't go ask your parents who's the favorite. They're never going to answer. So, but everybody's got a favorite. And here I'm working on the parents room. I imagine that so I put this room at the very top of the stairs down the hall. Typically I like to separate the parents room and the kids rooms just to give the parents a bit more privacy, but the floor plan didn't allow for that, so the parents are up here down the hall at the very top of the stairs, and I gave them a cute little ensuite. It isn't the biggest ensuite. The big ensuite actually belongs to the grandparents downstairs, but it's got a bath, a shower, a sink, a toilet. It's got everything you need, and if I had this simple of an ensuite, I would be really happy. I think I would be happy with any kind of ensuite in real life, to be honest. But here you can see I am using my typical bed. I love this bed. When I started, I actually really disliked that bed, but now that I'm building and trying new things in The Sims, I ended up really liking it. And you can see over here we are back outside and we are working on the landscaping. This backyard, I really like how it came out. Placing those plants and those stones, and by the way, the stones that are like lining the flowers, lining the landscaping, is actually called, it's a little flower bag from Debug. And if you're ever looking for the name of this flower bag, if you're looking for it in Debug the way I do constantly, because I could never find it, so I made a point of trying to remember its name. It's called ingredients. So normally how you find that items, the debug items, you just type in testing cheats on, so you got to enable testing cheats, and you got to type in baby.show hidden objects, and that'll give you the debug items, and then you got to type in baby.show live edit objects, and that will show you all the objects that the Sims team uses all throughout the world, and all things you don't have access to. So a ton more landscape. If you're a landscaper, you need it. But there is a mod. I'll include the mod down below in the description. Please shout at me in the comments if I forget it, but I'll try to remember it. It's the Twisted Mixie Better Build By mod, which keeps your debug and your live edit on at all times, so you never have to worry about putting it on. And it also filters, because in the before times, the debug and the live edit, they were all one giant menu. Nothing was categorized, and it was our living hell. But going back to the build here, after going on a rant about better build by, you can see I was trying to map this floor plan, this backyard out, and I ended up deleting a lot of the stones because I didn't want the stones to be on both sides, and I really wanted an area where you could sit by the pool, and I wanted to include a seating area, like outside dining area, and I ended up deleting a lot of the stones and adding something a little bit different here. And I really like this area, like it's a little bit off to the side, a little bit like in the garden area over here, where you've got some lounges so you can go and relax there, and you've got an outside eating area. There's a gazebo. On the gazebo, I believe I actually did remember to put a fan this time. So on the gazebo I've put another easel, because maybe in the summer times when the weather's good, the creative in the house, or the painter in the house, I'm not sure who's the painter, maybe it's the dad, or maybe it's the mom, I'm not sure, maybe it's grandpa, maybe grandpa's an artist. I like that idea. Maybe grandpa worked at the university and actually was like lecturing on art. I like that. These toddler string lights always give me a big headache. I actually couldn't find the pole, like the end pole, so I deleted them. I put them in, I deleted them, and then I actually ended up putting them back in again a little bit later because they were giving me such a nightmare. But eventually I got it to make it work. There's a little play area for the kids, the pool's there's a nice place to go and eat. I'm still not quite sure what these stumps are for from the toddler stuff pack. I like them. I don't quite understand them, but I think they're cute. And I also ended up adding a what do you call it, like the bucket that has like the water balloons in it. I ended up adding that in as well, and I ended up also adding in a toddler swimming pool. I don't know how I feel about the adults constantly routing towards the toddler swimming pool. I feel like that should exclusively be for the toddlers, but I really like the interaction of how the adults just kind of lay in the pool, because I can relate to that. It's summer at the moment and it is extremely hot. But we are coming to the very end of our video here, so I hope you have enjoyed the video, and let me know what do you think of the new paranormal pack. I'll be releasing a build with the new items, so I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching and have a lovely day. Bye.